Hey guys, I'm Kunal Roy and welcome back to another episode of All Things Ambient. On this episode, I review some of the freshest ambient releases of 2022. So subscribe, hit that bell icon, but first the intro. So on this video, I'm gonna review an artist called Gas and their album Narco Pop, right there. This album is very neoclassical. It's also ambient. It also has hints of electronica. It's a lot like a film score. That's the best way to explain, like a horror movie film score. So I'm gonna review this track by track. Let's do this. Track 1. It's like a film score, like a haunting, melancholic soundtrack to a gothic story. The mood is somber and melancholy. Great track. Track 2. This track has like a wash of sound, and the wash of sound sounds a lot like the wind, almost like an eerie sound when you're out at night and you feel like something's not quite right and something bad could happen. A doomsday soundtrack. That's a better way of putting it. So the synths take on the imagery of doom and destruction. So the synths come on and then the beat kicks in. All of a sudden it's an ambient electronic track. The drums sound like, the best way to explain the drums is almost like you can hear the pounding of drums faintly from a nightclub that's nearby. Track 3. This track is great for daydreaming and self-reflection. You can put it on in the background. And there's absolutely not a dull moment in this album. And I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. It is very much like the film score to a gothic horror movie. That's the best way to describe this album. And its subtle nuances, the drums, the synths, and the mood. It's very mood oriented. This track reminds me a hell of a lot of Terminator 2, especially when Arnold walks into the explosive lava and deteriorates, and all that's left is his hand, and it's reassuring. So there's hope and a warning that good will triumph over evil. That's the best way I can describe this track. Track 5. This track starts off with a marching anthem of drums, like the start of something epic, with the haunting imagery of a moonlit night, and this is one of my favorite tracks on the album. Track 6. Pianoscapes paint the imagery of a cruel desire, and it's dark, beautiful. Once again, what I said before, a horror movie soundtrack. Track 7. This is an awesome ambient electronica track, another one of my favorite tracks on the album, and if I can find it on Amazon, I'll put that link here too. Track 8. A menacing drum beat kicks off to the start where haunting synth textures take over, and the best way I can describe this track is funeral music. Track 9. This track makes me think of black holes, the Milky Way, and an astronaut stranded in the middle of different galaxies, far from home, lost. Track 10. And this is my favorite track on the album. This track is more of a club hit single kind of a track where everyone's dancing to the beat. So back to what I was saying about Gas's Narco Pop. Narco, the words narco and pop alone summarize, death and gothic and horror and tragedy. This soundtrack or film score, whatever you want to call it, is very fitting to that mood and ambience. And all that aside, guys, I've got some digital products linked in the description below. I've also got some of my books and my ambient soundtracks to my books linked in the description below. And with that, guys, I will catch you on the next episode of All Things Ambient.